Okay. Is the mic on? Hey, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here today. I know we're waiting on a couple more students and we're thinking like vintage days and parking and all that. So hopefully they start to trickle in. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being on time. We're going to go ahead and get started. So this is the Fresno State SSD transfer orientation. It does not count as dog day. So we are putting that out there. This does not in any way substitute for dog days. So students will still have to do their dog days orientation. But this is just a welcome, a little introduction of our office, our services, what we offer for students, and then who we are as an office. So with that, I would like to do the land acknowledgement first. So the Fresno State campus sits in the midst of the San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representation of Native American peoples and cultures. We are grateful to be in the traditional homeland of the Yokuts and Mono peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share stewardship over this land. Next one. And so this is just our itinerary for today's orientation. We're going to do staff introductions. We'll have some presentation portion, and then we'll go ahead and end with some Q&A questions. And there's going to be an opportunity also for a short tour that Melissa's going to help kind of navigate. So if you're interested in that, she'll be able to do that at the end as well. So this year we asked our staff to give us a little quote on, just to give us a little bit of who they are. Last year, I think, I wasn't here last year, but they asked for, just like a hobby or something interesting about the staff. And so this is our director, Jenny Johnson. She's the director of services for students with disabilities. And her quote was, "Go Cubs." So Cubs fan. This is Amanda Andalon, Administrative Support Coordinator for the Services for Students with Disabilities office. And she shared with us, expect the unexpected. Belen Vera, Access Specialist, she's over here manning the computer for a little bit. Her quote, "A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch, but in her wings." Stephanie Foster, she's another access specialist. She's currently over in Vintage Days volunteering, so she wasn't able to join us right now. She might be able to join us later, we'll see. And her quote that she shared with us, "We see the world not as it is, but as we are." And then that's me, Aiden Navarro. I'm also an access specialist with the Services for Students with Disabilities office. And I thought this one just kind of spoke to me. So the greatest glory in living lies not in ever failing, but in rising every time we fall. Melissa Villalbano, she's back over at the table checking in. She's the assistive technology coordinator for the office. And her quote was, "Staying positive doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time. It means that even on hard days, you know that there are better ones coming." This is Diana Clayton. She's the lead interpreter and communications coordinator with the office. And she shared her quote was, "For beautiful eyes, look for good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with knowledge that you are never alone." Audrey Hepburn. Tyler, he is also with the interpreting team. He didn't share with us a picture, nor is he here with us today, but he is also on the team. Nancy Cisneros, she's an interim learning specialist with the TRIO program. And so her quote, "When there is no struggle, there is no strength." Cynthia Ramirez, program assistant, she is also with the TRIO program. And her quote, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." Tatiana, and I'm going to butcher this one, Lebog, mentoring and peer support specialist, again with the TRIO program. "There is no charm equal to the tenderness of the heart." Kylie Madron, peer academic coach, again with the TRIO program. "There's never regret in doing your best, which is all any of us can really do. Even if you fail, you'll feel at ease knowing that it wasn't due to the lack of trying." Margaret Maluli, She's a peer academic coach and tutor with the TRIO program as well. In her quote, the question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me. And that's kind of our staff. Some of us are here today. Hopefully some of us will be able to join us later on during the day. But now I'll pass it on over to Belen. She will do the next section of the presentation.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Yes, so my name is Belen Vera. So I'm one of the counselors here in the SSD office. So it's good to see everyone here with us today. Thank you for making the journey over to Fresno State. This is the first time since 2019 that we've hosted this orientation in person. So you all know what happened in 2020, and so we didn't host it then, and the next couple of years it was virtual, and so we're very grateful to be able to host it again with you all here in person, and then also with just the technology updates, being able to also reach some people who weren't able to be here in person and get it recorded and all that. So we hope to continue that in the future. So we're getting to the meat of our presentation now. We're going to talk about a couple of different things. We'll talk about some of the differences and similarities between your time with your community college disabilities office, and then what it might look like once you get here to Fresno State in the SSD office. And then we'll talk about what you're going to need to get started, what you'll need to do, your application, the verification, if you need to provide anything. And then we'll talk about also campus resources and information. And so please feel free to ask questions as we're presenting. For those of you that are on our webinar, please put your questions in the chat. And then if you're not able to join us for the whole thing, we will have a recording as well. Actually, to everyone, the recording is going to go out as well. So we'll start with some differences between the offices. They're not terrible differences, but it is just some things you might need to kind of get used to, and things that we want you to be aware of when you hear. So your program name might be different. So our office here on campus is referred to as the Services for Students with Disabilities Office, or SSD for short. And where the community colleges where you're coming from, it might be the Access and Ability Center, it might be the Disabled Students Programs and Services, there might be some other names to that. You might be a part of some other programs as well. But for our office here on campus, you're gonna hear or look for the SSD office. And then staff titles as well. So typically, again, depending on the person that you're working with, their titles are going to be like counselor coordinator. I refer to myself as a counselor because I feel like that's just what we do. But technically our term is access specialist. And so a lot of the times when you're interacting with our staff and you're trying to make an appointment, they might use that term and they're going to say, you're going to need to meet with your access specialist to go over this accommodation, or let's get you scheduled with your access specialist. That's what that means, that counselor is that role. And then the roles. So this one can be a little bit tricky because on paper, our counselors or our access specialists, we technically are supposed to provide the disability accommodations. And so we do the disability management counseling. We are not registered with Fresno State as academic advisors. So we are not going to be the ones that are going to be helping you with your roadmap, but most of our access specialists have some background in academic advising. And so we are always open to answering your questions the best that we can. So if you ever have questions about any on-campus forms or what classes you could take or pulling your degree progress report to get to graduation, any of those questions, you're more than welcome to bring them to us. We might do our best to help you out. And then we might say, but make sure you follow up with your academic advisor. And so that's one extra person that is here to support you while you're here at Fresno State. And I know at the community colleges, a lot of times your counselors in the DSPNS office are able to help you with both the academic advising and your accommodations. And then, we'll go right back. I just hit a little bit more information about the advising at Fresno State. So you have the University Advising Center if you're still undeclared, which I don't know if a lot of you are going to be undeclared if you're coming from the community colleges, we might have some folks listening in or in the audience that are coming from high school. And so that would be University Advising Center. And then if not, your colleges are each going to have an advising resource, advising career center that are going to help you out. And all of their advisors have all of the information on any of the majors that are housed in that college. And so they get that training all the time, and they know the ins and outs of all of that. Okay, so let's get to the similarities. So what is going to be the same when you get here? So we are here to provide academic accommodations to you all. We're here to provide accessibility based on your functional limitations and your individual needs. And so our ultimate goal is to make sure that we are providing you that support so that you can be successful here at Fresno State. And so we want to help you reach your goals, and we're assuming that most of your goal is to get to your degree. And so that's what we are here to do, is support through those academic accommodations whenever possible. And I know that your community colleges want the same for you as well. And so essentially, you know, when we get into talking about accommodations and what is your accommodation plan going to look like, are you going to have the same accommodations as your community college? Most likely the plans are going to be very similar, but there might be some differences in like the programs that are available or the programs that are offered. I know a lot of the community colleges are using like Kurzweil for the screen reader. We at Fresno State use Read and Write Gold, so that's already a difference. They do the same thing, and you will do training with our assistive technology coordinator to make sure that you understand the program that's going to be used here at Fresno State. And then we have this in that, you know, we're doing this presentation on a webinar as well as in person, but we are here to serve you however that may look. And so our intake meetings, our meetings with staff can be either in person, one-on-one in our office, or we can also meet virtually. We also have walk-in hours that are one time a week. So on Wednesdays, we do our walk-in hours. And throughout the day, there's a morning chunk and an afternoon chunk. We'll do in-person walk-ins. And in the afternoon, we also host a virtual walk-in segment. So if you ever, you know, just have a quick question, but you can't get to the office in person, you can always jump on that Zoom and ask a staff member. As well, you phone call, phones work too. You're always welcome to call our office and get connected to one of our staff. Okay, I don't think we had anything planned for this stretch break, but for those of you in person, if you need to get up and, you know, there's some goodies over here, pan dulce, there's coffee, there's water. So please, you know, feel free to go get some. We'll give you all a minute.
I'm curious to know, does anybody know that Vintage Days is going on this weekend? Anybody ever been to Vintage Days? No? Okay, perfect. Then you'll have an opportunity to kind of see what the campus is like. This is one of, I think they're celebrating year 50.
Yes.
It's a huge year. I know it's not in the usual spots that it is usually held at because of all the construction and fencing that's going on campus. But it'll give you guys an opportunity afterwards to kind of check out and see.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I just saw there's like the inflatables over here.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm also curious, how many of you are, where are you guys coming from? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, we're happy you're here.
You kind of part.
Yeah. Other groups from here.
That's fun too. Like, get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. for an 8 a.m. class.
Yeah.
Finding
Definitely will want to see. How about back there? Where are you guys looking at?
All right. So in the webinar, if you guys want to share where what community college you're joining us from, we have some folks from Reedley and Fresno City here in person. Let's see if we have other community colleges represented in our webinar. Oop. A minute. You can see the chat. Okay. We'll go ahead and continue on to the process on how to set up services. And then, yeah, you can. Mhm. Okay, so some of you may have already done this. I know that we have every once in a while when we host this orientation, we have students who have already gone through the process either by just calling our office or going to preview day. But to sign up to complete our online application and to get scheduled with an intake with a counselor for your orientation. And so if you haven't though, this is going to be the process that you would want to take. So you're going to complete an online application. This link is available on our website, and it will also be sent out to you with the final presentation and recording as well. And then if you received any of the emails from me yesterday or today, the today email has the presentation, and on the presentation itself in the Microsoft Word document, there's a link to the application. With the application, there is a place for you to attach documentation of your disability if you have that with you. You can attach that there, or you can leave it blank and you can talk with your access specialist about what that would look like, what you would need to submit. Typically, if you're coming from a community college and they have any of your disability records, you can request those and then bring those with you to your intake or email them over to us. And then with the access specialist, you will be able to complete the intake. And then depending on the accommodations that you are set up with, you might also have additional meetings with some of our accommodations coordinators. So we had a lot of staff that we presented to you. And so we have some of our accommodation coordinators that are going to give you more information on alternate formats, assistive technology, alternative testing, communications. And so depending on what accommodations you are set up with, we might also say, hey, we're gonna get you scheduled to meet with another individual so that you can get some more information on that accommodation and what you would need to do to make sure you're receiving that service. And then once you've been set up in our system and you've completed that intake, you will then request your faculty notifications from the online portal. So you'll be set up with an online profile, and you'll be able to log in with your Fresno State username and password. We have a link on Canvas because you will mostly be using Canvas to access your class information. And so that is something that you are responsible for requesting each semester. We will also make sure that we send out reminders each semester to you. So, so you don't have to completely remember, but that is something that you'll need to do in order to access your accommodations each semester. And then of course, I add this on here because it seems like, and you can't really see it on the presentation, I'm sorry about that. But it seems like if I don't say it, I feel like people may not feel comfortable, but any questions or concerns that you have, please bring them to our office. Come to our office, come and talk to your access specialist, schedule a meeting. We are not mind readers. That would be awesome if we were, but we are not. And so we don't know when you are having concerns or issues. And unless you come and tell us, we cannot give you resources, we cannot support you, we don't know what you need. And so the biggest way to advocate for your education and to reach your goals is to make sure you're advocating for yourself. And so I always like to mention that just to make sure that students know that we are here to support you the best we can. I love getting emails with questions because then I can just respond back, or maybe it's something that I can squeeze you in between a student, or maybe a student cancel and I can call and talk to you about it. So emails are great. And then coming to our office, calling the office is great too. And so the online application, we talked about this a little bit earlier, that it's available on our website. I think this changed. I'll have to double check. I thought it changed, but with the confidential nature of the information you're putting into the application, it's not very long, but it does have about 4 or 5 questions that you can, it's like essay questions you can respond to just to give us some information. And so it will clear out if you leave it idle too long, or if you're trying to come back to it, you will have to start again. And I know that's kind of upsetting if you've put some work into it. And so if you feel you want to put some additional time into those questions, start writing them on like a Microsoft Word document, and you can go in and copy and paste those into the application, because we don't want you to lose all your work. But again, it's not super long, just the 5 like short essay type questions. Say essay, that sounds bad, but short answer questions, and then some of the information from you. And then once you do this, you submit it, our office will contact you. So we will reach out most likely via email, and we will say, hey, thank you for submitting your application. We need some times and dates from you that you're available for your intake. And so that's, again, where you checking your Fresno State email or whichever email you applied with, making sure that you're doing that frequently so that you can catch those emails from us and then respond with what your times and dates are available. If you submit the application, you don't get that email, or you're unsure if that email came through, or you feel like you haven't heard from us, please call our office and we will find your application and we'll get you scheduled. And then, so verification. So I know that this one will get a lot of questions. Did we have any questions in, we go up to the top in the chat, or they might be only able to do the Q&A right now? It's a webinar. Yeah, think about that. Yeah. Okay, the chat is disabled. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Chat is disabled. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry, online guests. I didn't realize that the chat is disabled. But if you have your questions, Q&A, please put them in the Q&A box. So any questions that pop up during this process. So we usually get a lot of questions about the verification, and we wanted to provide this information. So while no formal documentation may be necessary to establish accommodations, there are some paperwork that could be helpful when we're talking about what accommodations might support you. And so, like I said, your records that you provided to your community college, that would work great. Any medical records, psychoeducational testing, any kind of LD assessments, any school records, if you have like had an IEP or 504 plan, and we have the documentation from your community college. Even if you have like the accommodation sheet from your community college that lists the accommodations that you had, we will get you started at least for temporarily, so that we can give you time to get that other documentation if you're still waiting from either doctors or the community college to provide that information to you. We also have a disability verification form that's blank that you could take to a medical provider and have them sign off if you need that. Sometimes students use that in addition to some of the documentation they already have to provide, in the event that there's a new disability or a new diagnosis or condition that you are also seeking support for. And then, so best practice, we always recommend that you keep a copy of your own documentation. So a lot of times students are like, oh, I had one, but I gave it to so-and-so and I don't remember where it is. Making sure that you keep a copy. Nowadays, it's good to keep an electronic copy and then also have a paper copy as well. But with the electronic copy, that's going to be easiest for your application because you could just attach it to the application when you're completing it. Again, if you don't have that, that's fine. Bring the paper copy to your intake, or you can scan it by the intake time, and then we can add it to your online profile application. And then for the process of getting the documentation, you can go through the consent form process. It's a little bit more moving parts to this. So making sure that you sign a consent form or a release of information form with your community college, and then put that you are going to release your information to Fresno State SSD, and it's usually that the relationship is that we're your new school. And then the community college can send it directly to us. I'm seeing this less and less. I feel like students are catching on to having their own copy and keeping their own copy on their person or in their files. And so we are seeing this a little bit less than I used to. But that's still a process, I know, with the community colleges if you need to do that. Questions about the verification or check-in? Sorry about that chat. We are, the chat is disabled. We don't have control over webinars when we request access to webinars. So we are, you can just put answer live. So we are at the mercy of whatever settings have been set up for us. Let's see at the top. Yeah. So those are going to be available with the TRIO program. Yeah, and we're actually going to have someone from TRIO coming in a little bit to come and present. Oh, there she is. We'll let her speak in a little bit. So general caseload with SSD, no, we don't have specialized tutoring. We refer our students down to the Learning Center, which is the general tutoring for Fresno State. Our Learning Center is really amazing, and they've done a lot of great things over the last years and changing and morphing what tutoring looks like. They're doing a lot more both in person and online tutoring, and they've covered a lot more subjects than I've seen previously. They also have a lot more situations where it's not only a one-on-one, but it's also like group scenarios, and and then there's also an opportunity where if there's not a tutor available in the subject that you're taking, they will create a peer-led like study group with the classes. And then they will assign a tutor to kind of check in and monitor. But it's not necessarily that tutor is, a pro in whatever subject, but the students are now doing a scheduled group study session. And so the Learning Center is doing great things. And then if there is a specialized class, or if there's ever a situation where the student is going to need one-on-one tutoring, that is an accommodation that we can assign depending on the student's disability. And then we work closely with the Learning Center to coordinate that and find a tutor. Yeah. Yes, yeah, all subjects. Yeah, we can actually, in a bit, I can pull their website and I can show all of the subjects that the students tutor in. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Question.
So you talked about like updating.
Yeah.
Would Fresno State be able to get resources for diagnosis? I don't know if we help directly or be able to recommend resources.
Yeah. So are you talking about like a medical diagnosis or like learning disability diagnosis?
Well, I'm thinking
For autism. So we,
right.
Right. So we do referrals for students who do not have any sort of diagnosis or connection to our office. If you have a connection, we can give you the information to go to Alliant International. It's by the Fresno airport, and they will do low cost assessment or assessment based on sliding scale, which I believe the cost is around $500 for that. So it's generally less expensive than if you were to go to like a psychologist in your area. And they are able to do kind of like the full psychological testing or assessment there. And so that we've had students that choose to do that where they are already receiving services from our office, but they are potentially looking at having a either autism or ADHD diagnosis. And so they're wanting to find out more information about that. But we do not do any assessment here on campus. So we would just provide you that information. That's a good question too. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Will you be open during the summer?
Yes, we are a 12-month office, so we are here throughout the summer as well. And if you are attending your dog days orientation and you need to do your intake, we'll probably schedule you to do your intake within the week after dog days.
That answers the other question, which
Mhm.
was, do I have to take this update process?
Yes.
And then this is
Yes.
more of a
Yeah.
Locust Community College referred to also find this
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Heather. I worked with Heather at Fresno City College. Yeah, so yeah, that's great. I know that our office, when students are requesting, we can email the documentation if the student says it's okay. But I know some offices they're not allowed to email the documentation, so it would be mailing it out, so it's a little bit more tedious. So yes, so please make sure that you are. Yeah, best case is to have a copy of your documentation on your person. So what's the next? Oh, our intake. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of go out of order, but we have Cynthia Ramirez here with us from our TRIO program. So I'm gonna let her go to her presentation. Yeah. And then so she can discuss, yeah, because I know that. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah.
So the name is a little bit long, but bear with me. The name is TRIO Student Support Services Disabilities. We are a federally funded program with the goal to help you remain in school, stay in good academic standing, and to see you graduate. So the way I like to differentiate SSD and then TRIO is SSD focus more on those accommodations, while TRIO focuses more on that academic support. So tutoring, as you mentioned, that's where we have the specialized tutors, our peer academic coaches. We are actually one of the 3 TRIO SSS programs here on campus. We have SSSP, which focuses on like the general population, SSSB, which focuses on serving students specifically who identify as a veteran, and then SSSD, which is where I am from, which focus on students who have a disability. And we serve 110 students each year, so we do have a waitlist right now. So if you're interested in receiving these services that I'm going to mention in a few, apply as soon as possible. You can apply to TRIO like before you have the accommodation set up at SSD, and we just won't officially like accept you until those accommodations are set up. But other than that, TRIO is here to help you develop academic, personal, and professional skills that can help you earn that degree. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, what are services and benefits? One of the main ones I like to share is our secondary academic advising. Not sure which colleges you guys came from, but I came from COS, so I'm from Maciel. They offer advising that's not really that long, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. TRIO, we offer advising that is a full hour long. It could be in person, since we understand students commute from Visalia to Larry. It can be on Zoom as well. But other than that, our advisor right now, her name is Nancy. She is great when it comes to understanding your DPR, getting an idea of like which classes you might need to take for the next semester as like registration weeks opens up. You'll be able to meet with her, kind of get an idea of like, okay, which classes satisfy these requirements? Does the Learning Center offer tutoring? Will they offer tutoring for like the specific amount of classes you're planning to take? Something like that. We also offer, as mentioned, our one-on-one peer academic coaches. So they right now they offer courses, or excuse me, tutoring on STEM. So that's like chemistry, biology, psychology. We do try to get peer tutors, peer as in students that are also attending Fresno State, who focus more on the bigger majors we have here. So like criminology is a big major at Fresno State. Psychology is also another big major here. They also provide support on citing sources, doing research, reviewing your writing, your papers. And along with being a tutor, they're also coaches. So that's like study skills, again, learning how to organization, plan your week, plan your homework assignments, understand the syllabus, understand homework assignments, learning how to read your email, use Google Docs. Another service we offer is our supplemental grant aid. We offer this 2 times throughout the school year, so once in fall and then again in the spring. We also offer financial literacy education. So I'm assuming we're not all business majors here, so we're not kind of required to take like accounting courses or like finance courses. So that's where this requirement comes into play. You kind of get a better idea of how to budget, what's a loan, different types of loan, how to save for emergency funds, scholarships, stuff like that. We also provide assistance for graduate school. So if you ever need support on that, how the application will look like, how a graduate program will look like, when it comes with like internship hours and all. We also offer equipment loans. So that's like iPad, Apple Pencils, voice recorders. Not sure if you guys know, but the library does offer equipment loans to all students, but there's like, I think 25,000 students on campus. So those can get booked up and reserved fairly quickly. But if you apply to TRIO, we will always have plenty of laptops, iPads, and those headsets for you to loan out for your time here at Fresno State. And then the last service that I want to mention is cultural activities and trips. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. This is just a few of the examples of trips we would go to. So Fresno State is a very diverse school, so we highly try to put out these cultural workshops. We also provide academic workshops. Recently, we did a cultural workshop on Bengali New Year. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So to the left, you will see we went to the Fresno Art Museum. The middle, a popular trip I would like to go to is local. It's located at Roger Rocca's Dinner Theater. I'm not sure if you've all been there, but they had amazing food and they'll do plays. That's one of the most entertaining or exciting trip that students always look forward to. They always ask about Roger Rocca's. And then we also went to the Shinzen Friendship Japanese Garden, which is also local here. This is just a few of the opportunities you'd be able to get if you apply to TRIO. Again, it's just a great way to be more academically involved, right? Gain those academic, professional, and personal skills. And when it's time for you to graduate, we also host our little graduation celebration. So you'd get a little TRIO sash on the left photo, a stole, sorry. On the left photo, you'll see the stole has TRIO and a bulldog in the Fresno State. And every year we'll do a celebration. We're actually doing it in this room this year, ironically. Yeah, it's just a fun way to chat, kind of really think about all the homework assignments you did, all the essays, all the classes, all that time you put into your school, and to see how that road you took. It's just a great way to celebrate your accomplishments. Next slide, please. So how to apply to TRIO. Earlier I mentioned you can start the application process even before getting set up with SSD with those accommodations. To apply, you must be an undergraduate student, so not have earned a bachelor's degree, have a long-term disability, receive accommodations through SSD, and then demonstrate an academic need. And then priority is given to students who identify as low income and first gen. Again, we do have a wait list, so I highly recommend you at least start the application process, right? I'll make sure to reach out to you. My name's Cynthia. You can reach out to SSD and they'll give you my information. But yeah, I highly recommend you all apply. The application is on this QR code if you're interested. Next slide. Another thing that I want to share is the mentoring and peer support program called the MAPS program. If you would like a map, let me know and I can get you one. So the MAPS is a peer mentoring program that partners a kind of junior, senior, someone who is really familiar with on-campus resources and partners them with someone who just transfer students or freshmen to kind of get them more navigated with Fresno State and that campus, that university life. So the MAPS program is a great way to form a friendship. There's been research that has shown that if you are involved on campus, you have someone to reach out to, whether that's an advisor or a tutor, you will do better with your classes. They also promote attending classes regularly and then maintaining good study skills, organization skills. So the way the mentoring and peer support program works is we'll just pair you with a mentor or a mentee if you're interested in volunteering to work with students with a disability. And you guys will be required to meet at least 1 hour a week just to chat, make sure everything that's going on with the flow and that they're navigating the campus. Next slide, please. We also do the MAPS social events. So MAPS is a separate application. It's more like an interest form that you're interested in being a mentor or interested in being a mentee. So some social events we do, to the left, we did Friendsgiving. So it's just a great way to, again, form those connections here at Fresno State. The middle picture and the right photo, I'm not sure if you guys know, but there's actually a bowling here, a little bowling alley here on campus. But that's one place that we like to go to a lot through the MAPS program. But yes, next slide, please. Questions about TRIO or about the MAPS program? All right, thank you all for your time. Yes. Yes, so that program is called TRIO SSSP. So if you're like, you don't have to identify as like a student with a disability or a veteran, you can just apply to the program. I will say you can only choose like one of the TRIO programs since they offer kind of like the same services, it's just different populations. Yes. So I definitely recommend you reach out to us. We can provide you with their information as well. They do offer the same services, so advising, tutoring, the mentoring program, supplemental grant aid, equipment loan, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a great way to stay involved on campus and then get that extra support. Thank you for your question. Yes, thank you for having me. If you have any questions, reach out to your office.
Awesome. Thank you. You do the same. Feel free to grab some coffee, pan dulce. So there's a question in the chat about how do you request accommodations for summer 2024 classes. So I might have to reach out to our office specifically there. But students, if you're incoming, you probably are not going to be able to register for summer 2024 classes. So your first semester, like if you are admitted for fall 2024, that would be your first semester at Fresno State. And so if you have it in the chat, if you have, or Q&A, if you have a specific circumstance that you're wanting to ask us about, maybe you can email our office or call our office about that. But typically if you were a fall 2024 admit, you are not going to be able to take classes this summer. You would be able to take classes in summer 2025. And it would be the same request process to request accommodations through the online. And I forgot to mention earlier that the online portal is going to be the same for those of you at the state, center, community college districts. And so if you're already using an online portal and requesting your accommodations, that is the same portal that we utilize here at Fresno State. It's just going to be our Fresno State side. So you'll use your Fresno State login information and password to access that. So I think we were just going to talk about the intake. No, that was it. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about intake and services really quick, and then we have actually some folks that are coming from a couple different offices on campus to talk to you about 10 And so talk to you at about 10, sorry. And so we already talked about the intake appointment. So again, the intake appointment is that time to discuss the accommodations with your access specialist and to discuss what types of accommodations you might be needing. And so going into service and accommodations, the services are going to be based on the student's disability and their functional limitation within their academic setting. And so we have a wide variety of services for students with disabilities at Fresno State. And these accommodations will be reviewed again with your access specialist. And again, like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of times your accommodation plan are going to be very similar to what you received at the community college or potentially in high school. So we've listed some of the potential services here. So we already had Cynthia talk about the last two TRIO student support services with disabilities and our mentoring and peer support program. Some of the other potential services, the alternative formats, that's the audiobooks or enlarged print, alternative testing services, being able to take your exams with some extra time or with certain assistive technology, being able to take them outside of the classroom. In our office, we have about 8 private testing rooms that you'll be able to utilize throughout the semester to take your exams. And then during the busy parts, like finals week, we will use rooms like this where you will have your own 6-foot table and everyone will be spread out, and we'll have a proctor in here just to make sure we're maintaining a quiet, reduced distraction environment. But we have so many students that are requesting and doing services during that time. So that is an accommodation we offer. We have an assistive computer lab if students need to do some work or access certain technologies. Assistive technology like digital recording, live scribe pens. We also have a note-taking app, which is the Glean software, which I know some of the schools I think I've heard were starting to use that. And so that is something that we do have here. And then note-taking services, accessible furniture in the classroom, communication access, sign language interpreting services, real-time captioning, on-campus mobility services, and then again, the last two are, we had Cynthia speak to us about that. And these, we talked also about the meetings with the accommodation specialists, so you get a better overview of the accommodations that you're being set up with. So we are going to do a brain break. Melissa's going to lead that, and then we'll take a few minutes again to get some coffee, and you can get some coffee pan dulce while you're at it, and then we'll get started with our presenters.
Yeah, so hi everyone, again, Melissa here. We're gonna be taking a quick brain break, so maybe about how many minutes? Maybe 2, 3 minutes? Yeah, so we'll just relax for a little minute, we'll just chill, and then we'll jump back right to it, just since we're scarce of time right now. So yeah, but thank you everybody for joining us virtually and in person. We do really appreciate it. And we're gonna be doing a little quiz. So just based on the picture and in the chat too, you could go ahead and use the Q&A box that's available and you could use. But with this building here, I'm sure you guys saw this building today. What is the answer? Is it A, Save Mart Center? Is it B, Fresno State Library? Or is it C, Kennel Bookstore? Anybody? Take a guess.
Library, because they don't have the Fresno State.
No, just kidding. Yes, you're right. Yes, so it is B, Fresno State Library. And then we could go, yay. Yes, that's in the chat. Yes, you are right. Fresno State Library. Alrighty, next one. This may already have a hint in the picture as well, but which one is it? So now it's, of course, it's not B anymore, right? So is it Save Mart Center or is it Kennel Bookstore? Yeah, so it is our Kennel Bookstore. C, yes, Kennel Bookstore, yes, yes. Last one. Everybody say it with me. It is A, Save Mart Center. So they have a lot of events in the Save Mart Center. You have your basketball games, you could have your concerts at Save Mart Center. They also have monster truck riding, professional bull riding, Fresno State commencement, graduation, high school graduations, lots of events going on in Save Mart Center within the next couple months. Alrighty, so faculty notification. So requests for faculty notification letters should be through your SSD student portal. So when you will need to submit these requests each semester, you need to submit them every new semester. Whether if it's for fall, you submit them, before. For either fall, winter, spring, or summertime, you do need to submit your letters for each semester. Ideally, of course, before it begins, because it does take about 48 business hours for your faculty notification letters to be emailed to your professors and for your professors to be receiving them. Okay. So we're going to be showing a quick video as to how you could request your accommodation letters through your SSD student portal.
All right, we're gonna stop it there because I know that the students online can't hear it. And the link for this video is both on is it on our website? It might be on our website, but it is going to be in the email that you all get with the presentation. So I don't want to continue with the video if they can't hear it. But thank you for letting us know. And so again, if you are coming from the State Center Community College District, it is most likely that you are already doing this process through the Ames portal, and you're probably very familiar with it. So that process will continue. So we are going to hand it off to some of our speakers. I don't know if someone needs to go first over here. Okay. All right, Erin. So We have Erin from financial aid. Let me get her presentation up. Thank you. We do not have that enabled yet. And so students will request their appointments through our office or schedule with the staff, and then we will send them out a calendar reminder. Yeah. Hold, please. Oh, this is the PDF. Nice. Yeah, you sent it out. It's the right one. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see the Zoom aspect. Sorry, all that. Some time. This one. Share. All right. Button. No. Oh my gosh. Okay. You should have them right.
Okay, can you just let you know? Okay. Actually, I'll hold this. Hi, everyone. My name's Erin Connor. I'm a financial aid counselor at Fresno State Financial Aid. And so I'm just going to kind of go briefly over financial aid and some of the changes for this current academic year. So if you go ahead. So we're going to go over what financial aid is, filing your financial aid application. She passed out financial aid workshops if you haven't filed your financial aid application. Financial aid at Fresno State, I am going over satisfactory academic progress, our policy, and financial aid tips, and there are time for questions if you have them. Go ahead. Okay, so what is financial aid? Financial aid is money that is available to help with the costs of attending post-secondary education. And so I like to go over what is free money versus money that has to be paid back. Money that has to be paid back is highlighted, but there are scholarships, institutional versus external, grants. There are federal. The big one is Pell Grant. There's also what's called SEOG grant, state and university grants. So the big ones are the CSAC programs. So Cal Grant is the main one. There's the middle class scholarship, and then there's the Chafee Grant for former foster youth. At Fresno State, there's something called the State University Grant and the EOP grant. There's work study, which is, essentially you work for it. There's the federal and community work study, and then the California Act Service Incentive Grant, which is for our DREAM students. And then there's different types of loans. There's federal loans, which are the direct subsidized loan, the unsubsidized loan, the nursing loan, and then the state loan for DREAM students, California DREAM loan, and then there are private loans. And that fund is repaid through the lender. So just to kind of go back again, free money or scholarships, grants, and work study, and then loans have to be repaid back. Okay, so the application process. There's the free application for federal student aid. Free is the key word. We call it FAFSA. This is called Better FAFSA form, which is weird because it's been very complicated this year, but this is what it looks like this year. It's for US citizens and eligible non-citizens with valid Social Security numbers. It's at studentaid.gov. Next slide, please. And then if you're a DREAM student, it's called the California DREAM Act application, or CADA, and it's for non-citizens such as AB 540 and DACA students. Okay, so different this year is you're probably familiar with something called expected family contribution, EFC. It is now called the Student Aid Index, or SAI. So it's very similar to the EFC. It's essentially a number that's used to
calculate your financial aid need. The lower the SAI, the more financial aid you need. It now can be a negative number, but honestly, a negative number is the same thing as a 0. We use this number to indicate how much aid you may be eligible for. So like I said, it determines the amount of need-based aid you may be eligible for. Next slide, please. And so big thing is the priority deadline has been extended. It's usually May 2nd. It's usually March 2nd. It is now May 2nd. So if you have not filed your FAFSA, there is still definitely time to file it and still be considered for state aid. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have a ton of FAFSA workshops still. We have offered more than 500% workshops than we have in the past. So the ones here are still workshops we have. We have one today from 2 to 4 p.m. in person here. And then I passed out a flyer of that. So there's been a lot of issues with 2425, as you've probably heard in the news and everything. So please don't wait if you haven't done it. We are here. If you've submitted one, you're still more than, but you're having issues, you're more than welcome to come to one of our workshops. All the contributors have to sign to submit the FAFSA, and it all has to be electronic. There are no signature pages anymore. And then that's just our website if you have questions about it. I'm going to go over the Tuition Advantage program, which is to try to help students make the decision about, about their admissions decision. So Fresno State will cover any tuition and mandatory fees not paid by grants and scholarships. And there are qualifications. So you have to be Pell Grant eligible, or if you're a CADA applicant, you have to have an SAI of 4,000 or less. But if you're Pell Grant eligible, you have to complete your financial aid. You have to have a complete financial aid application by census. You have to be admitted into Fresno State by March 31st. You have to have completed the FAFSA or CADA by May 2nd. You have to have accepted and registered for dog days by May 1st, 2024, and you have to be a California resident. And you need to be enrolled in 15 plus units. You know, it doesn't mean if you don't do all that, you won't have your aid covered, but that is a guarantee if you meet all those qualifications. Okay, so financial aid at Fresno State. So 24-25 covers fall 2024, spring 2025, and summer 2025. I like to let students know that the CSU system is different than the community college. Community colleges don't charge tuition, but they do charge a per unit enrollment fee, and often these fees are waived through the California College Promise Grant. That is unique to the community colleges. The CSU charges both tuition and mandatory fees. They are not waived, and financial aid can be used to cover these charges. So just letting you know, fall 2024 charges run about mid-July, spring runs about mid-December, and you have to be enrolled for those charges to actually run. Okay, so we have something called the fee deferment process. It's for financial aid students. So it permits eligible students to delay the payment of tuition and fees. It doesn't pay or waive your tuition. It only delays until financial aid can pay for it. The criteria for fall 2024 is super broad. You just need to be enrolled in 3 units and have an official 24-25 FAFSA on file. The payment deadline each term is generally before the first disbursement of aid. And so that's why this deferment process exists. We can't disperse aid until 10 days before the semester. So essentially what happens is your aid disperses and applies to tuition and fees. And if you have any housing charges, if there's anything left over, it's refunded to the student via Bank Mobile. You need to set up your refund option. And if you had Bank Mobile at a previous institution, you still need to set it up through Fresno State. Next slide. It's all through that. You can select a check option, but most students do direct deposit because it's the easiest. Okay, I'm just going to briefly go over the California Student Aid Commission. We call them CSAC. They're the ones who manage the majority of state aid. The big one is Cal Grant, middle class scholarship, which you can't get at the community college, but you can get at the CSUs. Chafee grant for former foster youth, and California Dream Act Service Incentive Program for Dream students. But the big ones probably for you are Cal Grant and Middle Class Scholarship. So there's something called Web Grants for Students. That's a portal for CSAC that is different than the portal for Fresno State. So that's where you would do all the requests, like confirm your school of attendance, complete any requests. Usually transfer students have to complete what's called the G6 to confirm that they did a community college and then they're transferring to Fresno State. So that's really important. So you can set up your account there if you don't have it. And it's important that you monitor for any requests. Okay, I'm gonna briefly go over this. You don't need to remember all this. Also, I emailed a PDF to her, so you don't need to take don't need to remember all of this. But there's something called satisfactory academic progress, which you need to maintain to continue to receive aid. So SAP requirements for undergraduate students. You need to maintain a cumulative GPA of 2.0. You need to maintain a minimum progress of completing 67% of all you attempt. And there's a maximum unit limitation. Attempt more than 180 units during your undergraduate career. So it's calculated at the end of each term. Students who do not meet requirements are giving a warning semester to return to good SAP standing. If the student fails SAP 2 consecutive semesters, then they become ineligible for aid. There's only an exception to this. Once you hit 180 units, you don't get a warning. And so there is an appeal process. If you don't meet SAP, if you have extenuating circumstances. So, if you're approved, you could be on probation or you could be on an academic plan. But I like to let all students know about this. One, we have to because it's required. And two, it's just a reminder that you do need to be making progress towards your degree to continue to receive financial aid, and that does include loans. Okay, just some tips. You do have to file your FAFSA or CADA each year. March 2nd is generally the priority deadline. This year, it's been extended to May 2nd. You can apply through scholarships through Fresno State and external organizations. Fresno State's cycle is always October 1st through March 2nd. That was not extended this year. Maintain satisfactory academic progress. Regularly check your self-service for any hold items or your to-do list. Are the only thing you would ever need to accept. And you can do that through your self-service portal. Grants are accepted on your behalf. Monitor your Fresno State email for any financial aid updates and requests. Make sure you set up your refund option. And there's a lot of good information on our website. Follow us on social media. We have a lot of really good updates. We let you know if there are any technical issues, if we're having issues with our phone system, and then just any federal or state updates. And then if you can't find the answer, please ask us. If you're struggling financially or there's been a significant change in your family income, we could look at a potential appeal for you. We're definitely here to help you. These are the ways you can contact us. We also have walk-ins every Wednesday and you can meet with a counselor. These are our walk-in dates. Our walk-in times. We're going to begin summer hours, I don't know, end of May or so. Little bit different there. And then of course, if you call us and they can't help you, they can schedule an appointment with a counselor, but these days you don't need an appointment. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. It could be for another college, but for the state deadline of California, it is May 2nd, and I do not foresee that being extended. It was like an act of God that it was extended to May 2nd. Yeah, I had to go through the state legislator and everything. Any other questions? Okay, you're welcome.
Great. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Perla? Okay. All right. For academic counselor with the University Advising Center.
I'll introduce myself. Hi, good morning. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna put my microphone a little bit down because I like to, talk really loud and everything. How's everybody doing here? Good. I hope everybody who is in, we have some people online that you guys are doing as well. My name is Perla Perez Maciel. I'm one of the academic counselors with the University Advising Center. Back when I was young and beautiful, I actually attended Fresno State. My bachelor's was social work. And I love my stay here at Fresno State that I decided that I was gonna do a master's degree. So I went on and continued with a master's degree in social work. After that, I said, I loved it more and everything. So went and got a credential that's called PPS that allowed me to become a high school counselor. I went to work at a high school for a year and decided that, oh my God, that I actually love working with college students. And that was about 20 something years ago. And I'm still here and I still have that feeling still that I am what I need to be, which is working with college students. And I hope that I can provide you some information about advising, which is the most important thing. Now that you know more or less how to pay for classes, now, how do I register for classes? Who's gonna help me with that? All of those questions that I'm gonna be able to answer right now. One of the biggest things that I can tell you, and it's frustration from students, is that they continue to call an advising center wanting to get help for classes, but they're calling the wrong advising center. And I'll tell you specifically what you need to do now. So we have, so I want to make sure you know how to get the most out of your advising, who you need to contact. That way you don't have to be going crazy and finding out who's my advisor. Second thing, who are these advising centers in case that you decide, I need to change majors or things like that. This is not working for me. That will be something that I can do. And lastly, I want to show you advising tools that for whatever reason, if you are not able to get a hold of an advisor, but you can keep track of your records. Okay, so let's do it. Thank you, Belen. First thing, the university is divided into 8 different colleges. If you have a major, you belong to one particular advising center, okay? And that's important. Not every advisor can advise you, and you don't want anybody advising you because whoever is advising you, they keep records of your notes and you have an opportunity to say, I met with so-and-so and she told me to take this class. And if there was a problem with the class, then you can always go back and say, hey, so-and-so told me, right? And that's important for you, but also for the counselor. So make sure that you know specifically which advising center you are. Which majors do we have here? Criminology, that will be the College of Social Sciences. They have a lot of counselors there. Now, one thing that they do, they also have peer counselors, so take advantage of that. They always have walk-in Wednesdays as well. So that's a good thing. And in their website, they have the emails of the advisors. So if you met with someone, you can always get their email and continue to follow up with that advisor. That will be the key. Okay, what other major? Computer, okay. That would be the College of Science and Math. Again, they have a lot of advisors, but something the College of Science and Math, they do, and a lot of people don't do that much, is they do a plan. You were gonna mention something? No, you were in computer engineering at the computer science. No, computer engineering is Lions College of, yes. See, you know that? Hey. So Lions College of Engineering. Now, the Lions College of Engineering do something a little bit different. They have about 2 counselors that they do general advising and all the general in the advising center. But most of the advising and roadmap and things like that is done by the faculty advisors. So you need to know that, so that way you can have both on your team. who is my advisor, and then who is my faculty advisor for LIOS. Any other one? Anybody in the online that they said the major? Nobody? All right. Okay, great. All right. Speech pathology and kinesiology, they're part of the health and human services. I am so sorry that the advising center is always so impacted. It's so hard to get a hold of an advisor because they have so many majors that are very well known. And I'm gonna be honest, if you do an appointment now, you will get it like probably in 2 weeks. So you definitely wanna be very proactive about what you need to know. So do me a favor, when you go to the orientation, find out who is the advisor that is doing the presentation, get their email, and communicate through that email. You have supported documentation through the email, and then you can go from there. Okay, so that is one of the things that we have. The Kremen School of Education, does it, anybody who wants to become a teacher, it's important you start right away because they have a specific GE classes and a specific major. Nonetheless, again, that's the advising center. And then you have another advising center. And if you click the next one, and that is, oh, I'm sorry, this is information. So if you don't have the contact information, you are more than welcome to do a screenshot. And that's their phone number and of all the advising centers and what they do. All right, next. Now, then you have us, and we're the University Advising Center. This is mainly for students who decide, never mind, I thought I want to be a mechanical engineering, but guess what? It's becoming really hard and I can't do it no more. Or for whatever reason that changes. That would be us, because then we look at all your classes and see what can those classes go to a different major, when can we graduate you, and all of that. The other thing too that we do is a specialized advising. We have several, if you want to study something and you don't see it there, come and talk to us. We may potentially do a special major, which, it's something very interesting. We do academic petitions. If you're coming from a 4-year institution, then we can help you with that as well. But again, main thing is when the student decides, this is not what I'm thinking that it was gonna be, what else is there for me? Okay. The other thing that we also do is a lot of general information, a lot of general advising. A lot of the times the advisor, they can get a hold of them and you want to withdraw and you don't know the process of withdrawal process, then you can come to us and we will be able to answer that question because it's general enough for us to help you with that. So that will be something that we can definitely be of resource to you. And as you can see, we have several counselors there ready to help. And then if it is something that is major, we're always going to refer you back to the major because we don't have no jurisdiction whatsoever with them. Okay, next, thank you. In your portal, this is the most important thing. When you attend Fresno State and you attend the orientation, they're gonna talk to you about your portal. And this is where most of our Fresno State students live. You'll see the halls, important information, to-do list, and everything. But the most important thing, and I want to highlight, is who's my advisor, okay? Who's my advisor? And then when you click on details, it tells you the email. But in some advisors, they actually put the direct line. And in my case, I put my direct line because I want my students to have clear, contact with me so they can call me anytime. But you will have that. If the advising center is listed there, then you will have the number and the email. And that's how you will find out who is your advising center, right? Lastly, if there's something that you want to know about Fresno State, is that we have a tool, and a tool allows, in not only one, but it's multiple tools. The most important one is probably, if you're a transfer student, you probably received this. Have any of you received this in the email yet? It's called a degree progress report. A list of all the classes that you are transferring and where are we giving you credit for, whether it is in the major. If not, when you receive an email, write it down. It's called a degree progress report, DPR. is the most important thing. If you want to remember something from my presentation, that's the number one thing. Degree progress report. It keeps track of all the classes that you bring in from community college. Where do we give them credit? Is it in the major? Is it in GE? Or is it graduation requirement? And it will answer one question. What are the classes that I need? And when can I graduate? Which is what everybody wants to know. How many more units? And when can I graduate? That is this, okay? And then my degree plan keeps track. You can do multiple scenarios, and this can help you select classes. If you only want evening classes, you can plug it in and it gives you the list of classes. Or if you want only online classes, it will do that. And this is Boulder Connect allows you to connect with your advisor directly by either scheduling an appointment or sending emails. But remember how I tell you that every time you meet with an advisor, they write notes. Also, what they say is this one. So if you saw an advising center and I can get to see, and you come and see me, I say, hey, so-and-so told you to come and see me. And now I know, that you're following up. So that's one way. Next one. Okay, and this is how you get, once you go into this is your My Fresno State, you're gonna click on student self-service, and then you're gonna go into My Academic Records. Under your academic records in your left side, you'll see the 3 most important ones. When you graduate, this is the one. When you come and see an advisor, this is the one. Like, can you tell that this is the one, the degree progress report? Great. So that if you know that and you can understand it, you already are ahead of a lot of students coming in, okay? So yes, and I think that's it. I won't be able to play the video, but I'll have Belen and Aide to put it in your website or somewhere so you guys can see it. It's a video about how to what those tools do for students. And next, please, Belen. I think that's it for me. Yep. So I'll leave you with my business card. Again, it's very, very nice to have you here. I don't think I would have been able to survive if I didn't have a lot of people surrounding me to help me with navigating Fresno State. Having people to know I have a question and I need an answer now, and calling different people, for me, that's what made me stay here at Fresno State. And I want to do that for my students. So if I can be of a further assistance to you, please reach out. And if I cannot answer your question, guess what? I know a lot of people that they can. All right, so please welcome, and if I can be of resource, please reach out. And if you see me around campus, say hello. Hey, I remember you. All right, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And for those of you that are joining us in the webinar, yeah, it just brought to my attention that you guys could not see the slides, and I'm so sorry about that. But we have the presentation, and if it's an okay from Perla, we will go ahead and get that to you via email. Yes. All right. And then last but not least, we have Tony from the tutoring, or he's our tutoring coordinator with the Learning Center. And I was singing the praises of the Learning Center earlier, so here he is to tell us.
Presentation is done.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I have never used one of these things before. So this is, okay, so, but you tell me if you can't hear me, because my voice doesn't really project as much as I would love it to. Okay, and I'm pretty low tech, so I actually have no presentation, unless you all want to put up stuff from like the Fresno State Learning Center website, and then we can discuss that, especially if you all have questions. So my name is Tony Losongco. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Fresno State, everybody. I work as the tutoring coordinator in the Fresno State Learning Center, which is, okay, we're on the 2nd floor, so it's really just 2 floors below here, and then 1 floor below SSD. So, you can find us. We're really the only office or program on the lower level of the library. It's just us and the books, lots and lots of books. But so I work, so in the Learning Center, we have three programs that work together. I can speak to the tutoring part of it a lot because I work as the tutoring coordinator. I hire tutors. I have a team of 51 tutors. And so I hire tutors, I train tutors, I evaluate tutors, I manage the day-to-day operations of our tutoring space. But we also have two other programs that work well together. So there's supplemental instruction, or SI, and then there's academic success coaching, or ASK for short. From your previous school, you may have had some services that line up with what we provide. So if you had tutoring services at your school, great. If you had a program like SI or PASS, it may have gone by a different name. Great. If you had academic coaches, great. I hope you used them all. And I hope that you'll find a good fit with any and all of our services that we provide, those tutoring, SI, and ASK. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the services, and for the folks here in the audience, like in person, you're seeing what our tutoring, our Learning Center website looks like. You can Google Fresno State Learning Center and find that, and explore some of the various links. Okay, so for tutoring, we have. I hope some of you have used tutoring and maybe have some positive feelings or positive values around tutoring. Tutoring, what I want you to know about as I explain all these three services is that the services are free. So you've already paid for them with your tuition. So whether you go to tutor one time, that's no extra charge. You go 10 times, that's no extra charge. If you go 0 times, that's no extra charge. So, it's the same cost, whether you go, whether you never go or whether you go like every day. So I encourage you to use the services. And then the three programs have very similar goals for students. We just have three different approaches to that same goal. So we want you to get the best grades you can, especially in some historically difficult courses at Fresno State. But we also want you to become happy, successful college students, and you have different needs to get there, to get to that goal. So we just have three different approaches to that goal. So I'll start with tutoring. Tutoring is free academic support across different subjects. It's provided by Fresno State students. These are Fresno State students who work as our tutors, and they are organized around a whole subject. Okay, so we have 10 different teams that we hire tutors into. And so our most popular subjects are math, chemistry, and business out of those 10 teams. I heard some of the majors. We do have, say, for criminology courses, we do have a team of social sciences tutors that can support a lot of the GE history and poli-sci, but also subjects like criminology, like child and family sciences. Let's see, I heard computer engineering. And so we do have a team of physics and engineering tutors. They're hired to support the physics classes in addition to various engineering disciplines like computer engineering, like mechanical engineering. And so actually what we're looking at here is the tutor schedule. It's now, let's see, we're coming up on like 10:30. So you may actually see this move as we talk about this. This actually shows which tutors are on right now and are available for drop-in tutoring, and then a list of who's available right now, but who's working by appointment, and then the tutors at the bottom, they're off. It also shows the days that they're scheduled to, the times that they're scheduled to work, and all the different courses that they support. Now, I'll say tutoring through the Learning Center, it's not the only tutoring that's provided by the university. There are other programs here on campus that provide tutoring. So like engineering, the College of Engineering has its own tutors. Math department hires some tutors of their own. There's a writing center in the Kremen Education building that provides writing tutoring. So we're not the only place, but we would be the main place. So, and there's no judgment. So we all work together. So if you click well with the writing tutors in the Learning Center and you click well with the writing tutors in the Writing Center, excellent, do it. No judgment here. So definitely use those services. But we're the main place that provides tutoring on campus. Like I said, I have a team of 51 tutors. They are Fresno State students, and together they support over 600 courses at Fresno State. Now, that's not every single course, so there's still a lot more courses, but we actually are able to support at more than 90% of new transfer students have at least one class that is currently supported by a tutor. So we've got pretty good coverage. I love my team of 51 tutors and all their various superpowers for all of these courses, so that collectively they are able to support more than 600 courses at Fresno State. But again, it's organized by a team. So we offer drop-in tutoring and appointment-based tutoring. So the drop-in, you don't need an appointment. You just go to the front desk. You say, I'm here in for my Math 76 class, Calculus 2. And then if we have a tutor available now on a drop-in basis, then we check you in using your student ID number, and then we send you to the table where math tutoring is conducted. We also have appointments, so we can, and I will say it is possible to have more than one student in an appointment, but probably, let's say 99%. I can't say it's 100% of the time, but 99%, that appointment ends up being a one-on-one appointment with the tutor. And then what we do with drop-in tutoring is we may have groups of students. So there are some times where there's a lot of students there, and we may have, for a subject like math, sometimes one tutor on for math, sometimes as many as 4 tutors on at a time to serve whoever's at that table, whoever's in that group. And then we also offer in-person tutoring that's done in the Learning Center downstairs, but we also offer online tutoring done through Zoom, and it's by appointment. So you can make an appointment for online tutoring with one of the tutors. So we do offer that on Zoom. It does offer us some flexibility for students who aren't able to come to campus at a certain time. So that's tutoring. We offer drop-in, appointment-based. We offer in-person. We offer online, and it is organized by around a team. But of course, if you don't see your course listed on one of these 600 courses, just come up and ask. We'll figure out. We'll ask for your syllabus, try to break down like, okay, what's being taught in your class? How are they teaching it? What are the assignments? And let's see if we can make a match with one of our tutors. Okay, supplemental instruction, SI. That's one of our other programs in the Learning Center. It's also academic support. It's also free. It's also services provided by Fresno State students to serve other Fresno State students. The approach is different. So some of you all may have had an SI program at your previous school, or maybe they called it something like PASS. And so you would have, instead of a team of tutors, like, I have a team of 6 chemistry tutors, and together they support a bunch of different chemistry courses, sometimes at the same time. You might have students at the table for multiple chemistry courses that they're meeting with. For SI is free academic support, but it's organized around a specific course with a specific professor. So we have many, many chemistry courses, but we have, for a general chemistry course like Chem 1A, we might have 4 classes with 4 different professors. For that, we're going to hire 4 different SI leaders. Those are the students that are hired to provide the support through SI. And SI has these SI leaders. Those 4 professors may have said, I know my class is difficult. I know a lot of students have historically failed this class. I want support for my class with my students. Nobody else's students, just mine. Just the 80 or 90 or 100 that are in this lecture, as opposed to everybody taking chemistry. So what SI does is, what our SI program does is they work with the professor and, who sort of steps forward and says, I do want that support in my class. I'm willing to support an SI leader for my class. And the SI program finds a student who has done well in that specific class, Chem 1A, for example, and then they hire them and they become an SI leader. So they're paid to go back into the classroom and do it all over again. They sit in on all the lectures. They're paid for that. They meet with the professor on a weekly basis, and then they design their own study sessions just for the students in that class with that professor. So as you're starting to see some of these courses like Chem 1B, there's 2 professors, I think, for Chem 1B. So there's 2 different SI leaders. And so when you have an SI leader, that's just for your course with your professor. And so they have these study sessions twice a week. They also have office hours in the Learning Center twice a week. Again, it's free academic support. It's just a different structure. Instead of having a chemistry tutor who supports a bunch of different chemistry courses at the same time, this would be an SI leader who knows the pace of your course and who knows your professor and who knows how your professor teaches the course. So that's SI. I want to talk to you about our third program, which is called Academic Success Coaching, or ASK for short. It's not academic support in the sense that you might be used to. So in other words, our academic success coaches are not tutoring you in chemistry. They're not leading SI sessions about chemistry content. However, sometimes students are struggling in their chemistry course and they may be struggling in some of their other courses. And you're not struggling in that class because you're struggling to learn like compounds or acids or bases. It's more that you may be struggling with managing your time as a new Fresno State student. You may be struggling with test taking strategies for this chemistry course. You may be struggling with all of the stress that comes with being a new Fresno State student and managing your time and adulting and all of those good things, right? So where academic success coaches come in is that they meet with students one-on-one on topics like what I'm describing: time management, anxiety, test taking skills, study strategies, so that you can be successful in your chemistry course and all of your other courses. So you have some tools and some resources to be successful in all of those courses. That's what academic coaches do. So they're not, like I said, they're not tutoring you in chemistry, but they're working with you on some skills and some strategies and some resources so that you can be successful, not just in your chemistry course, but in all your other courses. So they do one-on-one appointments with students, but they also do group workshops that are called academic success workshops on all of these topics, like what you're seeing here, to make sure that you've got the motivation and the kind of drive to keep going with your courses and working through planning for exams, managing your stress, managing your time. All of those different topics that you see here, those are the topics for academic success workshops as well. So all three programs work together. We're often referring students to different services. I know of what they do is they work with students. When they work with them one-on-one, it's done confidentially. Like, I've had tutors that have told me, I've gone to see and ask coach, but that's none of my business. They work with you confidentially on these kinds of topics and get to know you and get to know how they can best support you. But all three of our programs work together. And it's also free. So all of the programs are free, and they are provided, and it's services provided by fellow Fresno State students to support your success as a Fresno State student. So I want you to, I guess I encourage you to stop by if you have some time today. We're just 2 floors below, and we work closely with SSD as well. So we have a good working relationship where there are definitely times when I brought students up to SSD. They may be coming to our space and ask, our front desk and ask about services. And I'll say, well, how about we walk together? We'll go up to SSD and I'll introduce you to some folks. And then we've had SSD staff come down to the Learning Center to bring students to just kind of get them aware of the space and get them comfortable with the space. So we want it to be a good home for you, for your studying and for your academic success. So I'm gonna pass out my business card. If you don't mind, please take one and pass it down. And so you can take my business card. I know that when we talk to new students in like August, when the fall semester starts, there's a lot of like, I don't really need this stuff right now. I don't like need tutoring. I hear that a lot. Like, I don't need tutoring. Well, the question is, do you want tutoring? The question is, what can I, what kinds of things can I address for you about using the services and about the services so that you feel comfortable using them? It's your tutoring is not tutoring, and our other services are not just for students who are struggling. It's for all students. You've already paid for it, and we see students of all types come in and use the services and benefit from the services. So it's really intended for everybody. It's not a question of whether you need tutoring or SI, or whether you need to meet with the tutor or need help. Do you want to meet with the tutor? Do you want to go to an SI session? Do you want to meet with an academic success coach for your own success? That's the question. So you come back in August and, this is maybe, you remember some of it, but you want more details. This usually makes more sense in August when you actually start taking the classes and when you start having assignments and exams. So please, you have my business card. For those of you here in person, you have my business card. For those online, I can definitely share my contact information. Consider me one more person in your support network. Okay, so as you start here at Fresno State, I'm like Perla and other presenters have mentioned, I may not know the answer myself, but I'm gonna try to get it. I'm gonna try to refer you to somebody where that's probably their full-time thing to support you in that way. So please come see us. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time. This may make more sense in August, like I said. And please come see us in August if that's the case. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna wrap up kind of our presentation with just a couple more campus resources. We appreciate all of the campus resources that came and spoke with us today. Thank you so much. And then Melissa's gonna wrap up also with an optional tour if you want to walk around with Melissa and see where some of these resources are. And then so we'll finish up with the campus resources, our folks on the webinar, and then that will be our presentation online. And then for you all in here, we'll continue with that tour. Thank you.
And for those who are online, do not feel bad that you will be missing the tour. We won't be going super in depth with the tour today anyway, because there is a lot of events going on campus today. But do please participate in your dog days. They do go over a well thought out tour, and you see a lot of more offices and a lot more centers through the dog days tour. So a little bit about campus resources. We did talk about the Learning Center. We did talk about the Financial Aid Office. We did talk about also about the University Advising Center, but there is also your actual own Student Health and Counseling Center here on campus. This is also a free resource that is paid already through your tuition. We do have doctors and nurse practitioners here on campus to see, as well as counselors and actual therapists that you could also talk to and set up meetings with. We have the Learning Center and an academic coaching. We also have a writing center on campus. So if you're typing an essay or anything like that is not your strong suit, do not worry. I actually myself personally used the writing center a couple of times when I took my English courses. You can make appointments and or do like a group writing session. They allow both. University Advising Center, the Center for Essential Needs is actually a pretty brand new center that opened up on our campus. This center provides essential needs as in like the food scarcity. They have a lot of more stuff on their website, but my apologies that I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm trying to go through these pretty quickly, but we do have all the list of the resources that we will be sharing to you as well through via email. So my apologies that I don't have everything we're sharing now. The Veterans Service Center, Educational Opportunities Program, the Career Development Center, if you want help with writing up a resume, writing up a letter of recognition, our clothing closet, that's all part of the Career Development Center. A Mendola Family Student Cupboard. We also do have a student cupboard where students could get free food using your student ID, and they also do help with submitting applications to CalFresh. Student involvement, clubs or organizations. Of course, we do have our Greek life organizations, our student clubs, and sports on campus. Discover E, which is a center here also in our library. They do have a program where some of the courses that do have Discover E written in the description of the course, they allow you to check out and loan a device for that class. And then we also do have, I believe, a student initiative program going on right now for incoming freshmen, not too sure about transfer students, where they do give you a loaned iPad device for the time that you are here on campus and for school. The traffic and operations and parking situation all fall under the traffic and operations office. I know a couple of questions were wanting to know about parking on campus. You do have to pay for parking passes through the traffic operations, but now it's all online. You do pay for the parking pass through your student portal. If you go on their website, they do have videos and links on how to do that. But you do pay your parking pass through your student portal, and they mail you the parking pass to your home address. So you want to make sure your home address is up to date on your student portal, and it does get sent out to you within 2 weeks' time. So what you want to do in the meantime, you print your emailed receipt and you use that print paper on your dashboard for your car for the first 2 weeks. After that, then you'll hang your student pass.
Is there a way to,
Mhm. I don't, I thought I heard some students talk about this semester being different where you could only purchase it in person. That might only purchase it, my bad, I'm sorry, only purchase it online. It may just have been this semester only a thing, and next year they'll bring it back to where you can do it both ways. But we will update you on that. Yeah, we will definitely find out an email and update you guys if you can do both in person and or online or either or. Okay, cool. Yeah, so any questions before we let you guys go? Any questions in the chat, please send them our way. Of course, when in doubt, always, always, always ask. I feel like every single presenter that talked about anything today, at the end when they're wrapping up, they said, if you guys have any questions, please ask. Any comments or concerns? Our office is really happy to help. There are differences between community college and disability programs and our office, but we always are we're always here to try to make the transition as smooth as possible. We do have our number here, our email, and our website. And of course, we will be emailing this presentation to you all, so you guys could have access to it when, of course, the time comes closer around to apply. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you, everyone online, for joining. If you have any questions, please contact us. Thank you.
And then, so I'm going to end the online presentation now. Thank you for joining us. Oh, looks like we have a question or maybe just a comment. Thank you. All right. Yeah, thank you. And then we can do the little tour if you'd like to join us. And then if not, we'll enjoy Vintage Days.
Not mandatory at all, but if you guys have